Dude, I'm telling you, the Bruins are giving Chara something. Dude, you can't just accuse them of something like that. You're gonna seriously look at that guy and tell me he's not taking dinosaur hormones?
What? You serious?
Mind blown. We need ideas.
I'm dumb.
Silly hard. We get to the game, please. Leafs lose 3-1 to the Boston Bruins. On my birthday! Okay, not really, but still. Question of the game already. Even if the Leafs had won this game, would it help relieve the sting of... you know. I don't need to say it. I'm gonna go with no. There's only two things I can think of that would help alleviate that. The Leafs beat the Bruins in a playoff series, or the Leafs win the cup. I can dream. I will give the Leafs this, and based on recent years, this is a compliment. They didn't look completely lost. Okay, first period they looked completely lost, but they did compete, and they answered back well in the second. But being shorthanded from injury and having played the night before, you're kinda up against it in the third. Speaking of which, I'm not gonna rip on these two particular players, but Troy Bodie and Fraser McLaren played just over 2 minutes each. If the Marlies weren't on that Western road swing, maybe the Leafs would have done something differently, but come on. I know the Bruins are big and tough and scary and you want to have those guys in the lineup, but if the Leafs are playing their second game in a back-to-back and you're only playing 2 players for 2 minutes each, that's going to affect the rest of the team. The Leafs had 7 defensemen the night before. I can understand if you want to give Riley a rest, but I don't know, Lyles is there. I don't know, just seemed to me they could have used the extra manpower and offense. There was a great article on sportsnet.ca, I don't remember who wrote it, but it was about how the Leafs are actually able to compete with the Bruins now, and a big reason is because of goaltending. What a novel concept! And while it is true that the Leafs team as a whole is better than it was a few years ago, Reimer gave them a chance to win this game. A few other Leafs that were impressive, it's easy to say him, but Joffrey Lupul because he scored a goal, but he also had 8 shots, which was the highest on the team. I like Lupul when he just gets that eye of the tiger. He just had that strong goal celebration. He loves scoring against the Bruins. He had that in the playoffs too. I mean, everyone celebrated when they scored a goal, but he just had that. Another guy who was really good during the Leafs playoff series and really good in this game, 7 shots. Guess who? Forward, Phil Kessel, maybe, Kadri, no, Jake Gardiner. And I don't remember if I talked about this in a video or on the podcast or on an article on theleafsnation.com, but Gardiner needs to play with a player who can complement him, with a player who will allow him to jump up in the rush like he did against the Bruins. The problem is Phaneuf needs a guy like that too, and so does Riley. I think maybe even Ranger does too. And speaking of Ranger, it's very easy to dump on him after this game, especially because of how the 2-1 goal went, where he basically frog splashed Reimer. I sent out a tweet that Paul Ranger reminds me of a lost child in a mall sometimes in defensive situations, in that whenever he gets lost, he just stays where he is. That way you don't get more lost. But and this happens with whipping boys, and it seems like fans have chosen Paul Ranger this season. He got an assist on the Lupul goal, and nobody mentioned it. Yes, it was a great individual effort from Joffrey Lupul on the goal, but if you're gonna criticize Ranger for the bad stuff, acknowledge the good stuff too. Be fair. All in all, the Leafs didn't have a terrible effort in this game. The Bruins did outplay them, but the Leafs get outplayed a lot. Had the Leafs not had so many injuries up the middle in this one, especially if they had a guy like Dave Bolin playing against the Bruins, I think it might have gone a little differently. Not saying they would have won, but it would have been closer. What say you? Gonna cut the video off here because I need to go record the brand new Panago Pizza Steve Dangle podcast. But before I do that, I need to thank everybody for coming out to the Wisers event at Shoeless Joe's on King Street last night. Huge turnout. Loved it, guys. Thank you so much. I enjoyed hanging out with you, watching hockey with you, and of course drinking whiskey with you. It definitely helps having that on deck when the Leafs lose. Or if the Leafs win, hey, there's whiskey here. So once again, thank you very much for coming out and supporting the podcast. I appreciate it very much, and hopefully we get to do it again soon. And absolutely last but not least, don't forget to not only wear your poppy, shouldn't have to tell you to wear it, buy it. It's tempting because yes, they are easy to lose, but don't just keep one in your pocket, don't just keep one in a drawer. Buy it. And if you lose one, buy another one. They don't cost 10 bucks each, they cost a donation. Donate. And none of this goofy white poppy stupidity, red. Yeah, but the white poppy is to promote peace. Oh, I'm sorry, that's what all the vets were doing wrong back in the day. They didn't ask Hitler nicely enough. Oh! And I know lest we forget is the tagline, but I'm willing to bet 99% of the people watching this video right now were not born in the 30s or 40s, so you can't forget something you weren't there for. So what we all need to do is research it. For example, I took some history classes as electives in school. I found those very interesting. Or talk to a veteran and that whole internet thing. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, click like. If you like my videos in general, click subscribe and listen for the brand new Steve Dangle podcast tonight. What, you good Canadian kids?